Hi everyone, my name is Jimmy, and I am an intern here at Our Minds Matter.
Hi, I'm Sabla. I'm also an intern with Jimmy at Our Minds Matter.
And hi, I'm Jada. I'm also an intern with Jimmy and Sebla at Our Minds Matter.
And my name is Catherine, and I work for Our Minds Matter.
So today we are going to be doing an activity. So let me just share the screen. Okay, so today the activity that we're doing is called Just Because Poems. And we're going to be all writing poems using a template that we have provided for you guys, and we're going to be sharing these poems with the group. So the purpose of this activity is to build connection among club members so that we can better understand each other and build a community here. And the other goal is to increase awareness and promote tolerance among team members. So this activity encourages conversation around stereotypes, which can be a little bit uncomfortable for some people, but they are really important conversations to have.
So the actual activity only really requires two supplies, a pen or just like a writing utensil and a piece of paper, as well as a note-taking device in case you want to take notes on others' poems or just ideas or thoughts that you have before creating your poem. And so as an example, I wanted to read with you all a sample poem from a student who explores the stereotypes placed on them for their Indian identity. So it starts with just because, a blank stereotype, and then continues on with the format doesn't mean blank, doesn't mean blank, which is supposed to essentially address certain stereotype, certain ideas, part of that stereotype. So as a student wrote, just because I'm Indian doesn't mean I work at 7-Eleven, doesn't mean I have an accent, and doesn't mean I wear a dot on my forehead. Just because I'm Indian doesn't mean I'm poor, doesn't mean there are cows roaming down my street and beggars in front of my door. Just because I'm Indian doesn't mean I'm unsanitary, doesn't mean I'm anorexic and looking for a cure. Just because I'm Indian, why should anyone care? What is the difference? What is life without variety? Just because I'm Indian.
Okay, so with that, we are going to set aside 5 minutes to do this activity with the format just because I'm blank doesn't mean I'm blank. And you guys can really like have a lot of like freedom with this kind of like writing. It doesn't have to be super structured or it doesn't have to rhyme or anything like that. And then after 5 minutes, we're going to share.
I will play a little music in the time being and keep track of time. So we'll go 5 minutes from now. So that's about 5 minutes right there. Do we need another few seconds, 30 seconds, a minute?
Maybe like a little more time.
Okay, why don't we take another 2 minutes?
Hello, it's nice to see you again. Did you miss me? We're meant to be friends, but it feels like a century in my head. If I say something that comes out all wrong, please forgive me for feeling this strong, but it feels just like angels in my head. But darling, the truth is
Are you ready?
Yes. Okay. So does anyone want to share theirs first? Any volunteers?
I can go first. So I did something kind of similar to one of the examples, but here I go. Just because I'm Chinese doesn't mean I speak the language, doesn't mean I always eat with chopsticks, and doesn't mean I always get A's. Just because I'm Chinese doesn't mean I always wear red, doesn't mean I only have Asian friends, and doesn't mean I celebrate the traditions. Just because I'm Chinese doesn't mean my parents are, doesn't mean I can't be Jewish, and doesn't mean I'm good at math. Just because I'm Chinese, why do people judge? Why does it matter? Why does it change? What does it change about who I am? Just because I'm Chinese.
Jada, I really like that.
Yeah, thank you, Jada.
Yeah, that was really cool.
I'm glad you shared all of that. So anyone want to go next?
I guess I can go. I actually mine was kind of inspired by a close friend of mine, but I guess I kind of learned a lot from being with her, so I wanted to make this poem. All right. Just because I'm bisexual doesn't mean I want to date you. Doesn't mean I wouldn't be faithful if I did date you. And doesn't mean I'm confused or need to pick a side. Just because I'm bi doesn't mean you get to decide whether my feelings are real or a lie.
Thank you. That was awesome.
Thanks.
Catherine, do you want to go or I can go?
Yeah, I'll go. Just because I'm a girl doesn't mean I can't throw a ball. Doesn't mean I like the color pink. Doesn't mean I like to watch chick flicks. Just because I'm a girl doesn't mean that I need to wear makeup to look nice or to be on a diet. Why should anyone care? What is the difference? Why should I be told to be some way just because I'm a girl?
Thank you, Catherine.
Yeah.
Okay, so for mine, I kind of just wrote about like a couple different like identities that I have. So I said, just because I grew up in Northern Virginia doesn't mean that my family makes a lot of money, doesn't mean that I have not experienced hardship. So just because I identify as male doesn't mean that I can be tough all the time or emotionally absent. Doesn't mean that I should be the best at sports because sometimes I'm really not good at sports. Just because I'm Vietnamese American doesn't mean that I have small eyes, doesn't mean that I eat dog meat, doesn't mean that I am naturally intelligent or had to work any less than you to get a good grade.
Thank
So
you.
now we're gonna hop into our discussion questions, and Jada is going to lead us. Okay.
So our first discussion question is, what did it feel like to share your just because statement with your peers? For me, I would say it felt kind of good. It felt good to almost like set people straight or show them like my side of things or how like I see things, and how like you don't always know someone else and like their background, and so you shouldn't assume. Yeah, does anybody else have an answer for that?
Yeah,
Want to share?
I can go. So yeah, I really liked like sharing this with the group too because I just feel like we don't always have these conversations, and like identities can like mean really different things for everybody who like associates with the identity. So I think by sharing this, I just feel like you guys now know something more about me, and we can like understand each other more, and we can understand our boundaries more. And it was just really nice to hear everyone else share too.
Mhm. It made me think of how stereotypes really put people into boxes, and people are so much more the label than they have, or just that one identity, because people are so complex and there's so much more than what you see on the surface.
Yeah.
And so stereotypes can be harmful because they can limit people's view of themselves and how the world sees them.
Yeah, I think it definitely like writing it out kind of helped me like process the like just like the logical fallacy in both assumptions I've made in the past, and how I guess how it can be both so easy for people to make assumptions on about just like from what they see or what they hear, and just like the truth, and that we're all like very complex people.
All right, thank you all for sharing. The second question is, what are ways we can promote respect among peers? Does anyone want to get a kick at that first?
I think we could promote respect by just encouraging people to learn more about others before deciding exactly who they are or what they are. If you don't even like know any context or anything, like there's really like assumptions can be so dangerous. Like you think you're right and you think what you think like it makes sense, but in reality it doesn't. Like it's not connected at all. And I feel like if we encourage people to just kind of listen and learn from others, then it would be easier to respect other people.
Yeah, I really agree with Subway on that. Yeah, just like we should like listen to each other, basically. I don't have much more to say.
I think also it takes a decent amount of courage to acknowledge when other people are using stereotypes and trying to come in and say, hey, actually, we can't just assume that about this person, and explain how stereotypes are harmful. And then also when you perceive something at first, you might have this implicit bias of, oh, I'm just going to assume this thing because that's the stereotype. But recognizing that with ourselves can help us maybe ask more questions or be more open to listening, so we don't make judgments based on those stereotypes.
Yeah, it's also really good to speak out if you're realizing you're being stereotyped or someone else is being stereotyped, because nothing is going to change if no one says anything. So the third question is, why is it important to remember to look past stereotypes? Whoever wants to go.
I mean, I guess it's kind of what you were saying before about like how we're not able to progress unless we promote respect. Like we're not able to understand each other or make new things together like as communities or as people unless we're able to just kind of look past our expectations or unrealistic expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like for the most part, there aren't like I don't think that stereotypes are like they don't have any like great benefit to us. I mean, like I know a lot of people will argue that, you know, we make these groupings like in our mind and it's like natural for us to make these groupings. Like of course that's true, but I don't think that using stereotypes to just to like alienate other people and to like make fun of them or just assume something. I just feel like if you believe stereotypes to be so be all end all, then you're not gonna get the real opportunity to get to know someone.
I think it's also important to look past stereotypes because stereotypes serve to pinpoint a certain behavior of someone or a group of people and then rank them based on other different people, and that's not the full picture, and it takes away who that person really is. And I think if we really looked at it, then stereotypes would not hold true because people are so much more complicated and more layered than one single behavior, one single habit.
Yeah, it's like a false vision of someone almost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought this was a really good discussion.
Yeah, I'm glad I got to talk with you guys about this.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that being said, like thank you for watching this video, and we hope you guys also learned something from it.
And maybe try writing some of your own Just Because poems and sharing them with us or with others.
Yeah, you might be surprised how nice it is. Like even if it sounds kind of scary, like don't put too much pressure on yourself. Just write what you're thinking.
Yeah, it can feel good to also just get that weight off your chest, or, you know, it's not something you usually do.